Hey guys, Chicken Domain, Debut.com with a Debut.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, December 14th, 2016. And what a rough start for the surf forecast for the first 2 weeks of December. Guys, it's been really tough and challenging as the models just have not been consistent. But if you follow us on our social feeds, you know about a week ago we posted a pattern change coming, and we threw a couple of things out there, talked about weather weirding. Want to start you off with some satellite imagery over here in the Eastern Pacific, and area of low pressure out here just to the east of the Hawaiian Islands, setting up a little mini Pineapple Express. Wanted to show you the flow. The flow is in here is like this, and there's a plume of deep moisture, Pacific moisture, that's going to start to impact the western coast of the United States, up in here towards Northern California and up in here towards the northwest United States. Going to switch over now to this side. And again, if we start talking about flow, here's this flow coming into the United States over the Pacific Northwest. And then it drops down in here. This is the jet stream. We've got a gale that's developing here and a hurricane force low up in here in the North Atlantic. Now, this is the third hurricane force low in about the last 7 days. And over here, jumping back to the Pacific, we also have another hurricane force low that was here a couple of days ago, another one that just moved off Japan. And we are now starting to see those signs that we're getting into the winter swell season in both basins. This was probably, these two hurricane force lows in the Pacific are probably hurricane force lows number 4 and 5 in the last 7 days. And then over here in the Atlantic, this is the third one in the last 5 to 7 days. So it's an active phase that we're in. And then going back to the weather weirding, understand that over the last couple of weeks, and since we've actually done the last forecast update that we had Hurricane Otto that crossed the southern Caribbean, across Central America, out in here towards the East Pacific, and then we've recently had another area of low pressure move over Central America. Now, this has put in some late seasonal rainfall in here towards Central America, and a couple of guys that I know that have gone down here on vacation over the last couple of weeks, their locals are talking about how late in the season it is to see rainfall. This is supposed to be their dry season, December into January and February, and then of course the rainy season pick back up once tropical season rolls back around. Now, we're also going to be looking at, once we show you the models in here, that the pattern that's developing, there's anomalous highs of high pressure that's going to be moving out here into the Atlantic over the next 7 to 10 days. And this is going to create that pattern shift that we're talking about. But this is also the islands in here, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Virgin Islands. This is also supposed to be their dry season. And there's some indications, could be La Nina induced, but some increased precipitation coming in here towards the islands. Now, from a swell forecast standpoint, with these anomalous areas of high pressure that's going to be moving out in the Atlantic over the next 7 to 10 days, this is going to put the Central Atlantic in a predominantly east-southeast trade wind flow for an extended period of time. And we'll show you that here in the model runs in just a few moments. But looking at that high pressure and the rainy season, or what's supposed to be the dry season for the islands, if we go back in here towards the intertropical convergence zone, just off the coast of Africa, with those high pressures building out here in the East Atlantic, this is going to help to push, although maybe limited in moisture, out here towards the islands over the next 7 to 10 days. So that's just something we're going to be watching, guys. It is getting a little excited as the swell forecast starts to rotate more into a positive direction for the East Coast United States. Now, here's this hurricane force low again, guys, that's up here in the North Atlantic. It's spinning right in here, and then this is the 48-hour swell forecast. This is the first time in quite a while now that we've had a storm system produce swell periods of 15 to 18 seconds. This is all headed towards the East Atlantic, and we've been for the first 2 weeks of December in an unfavorable swell pattern for the eastern coast of the United States, other than some 1 to 2 day little pop-up swells that have produced some fun surf conditions. We haven't had that winter swell season of primarily a northerly swell component. Puerto Rico's been lacking in a winter swell forecast thus far, first 2 weeks in December. And as you can see down here, located in blue, that once this passes, there's going to be another little northerly west swell. And then once that passes, that's at 96 hours. Here that is right here. We're going to get into a predominantly east-southeast trade wind flow in here that could keep us, or should keep us, in rideable surf in here, southeast U.S. coast, coming up through Christmas with warm temperatures keeping us warm. Latest 72-hour wind wave forecast out of the Tropical Atlantic Forecast Branch, National Hurricane Center. Here's that beginning of this east-southeast trade wind flow. This is well east of the islands in here. Hispaniola is here. Puerto Rico is here. Seas increasing 8 to 10 feet in east-southeast winds of about 15 to 20 knots, 25 knots, and gusty. And then if you look up here, just to the northeast of the Bahamas, the next area of high pressure working its way into the Atlantic, switching the winds out of the northeast in here, and seas increasing 10 to 12 feet in here in combined west-northwest swell, and then also starting to get a little northeast little fetch in here. Going to show it to you in the OOZ GFS model run. This is last night's model run. And again, here's this hurricane force low up in here just to the southeast of Greenland. And again, that's what's putting the 15 to 18 second swell periods heading over towards the East Atlantic. And then here's the gale that is east of the Outer Banks. So far, what's been missing, guys, is the pattern. So far in December, these areas of low pressure are down in here in these Texas hooks. And because these low pressures are coming in here and then trending off this way, they're not over the ocean producing any swell. And that pattern looks like it could change. Now, going back to our post on social media about 7 days ago, we talked about high pressure becoming a possible blocking mechanism. This looks like that's going to verify now, and we'll advance the model for you. You can see that hurricane force low move off towards the northeast, that gale east of the Outer Banks now pushing past Newfoundland as a weak area of low pressure. Now, here is this reinforcing shot of another area of low pressure, west-northwest winds in here, and then opposing east-southeast winds in here. That's two different swell directions. But what I want you to notice here is two things: that the persistent east-southeast flow in here just west of the West African coast in here, and then watch as the mid-Atlantic northeast winds begin to develop behind this high pressure, and then this high pressure is going to rotate out into the Atlantic, and it's going to combine with a nice wide area of fetch of east-southeast winds, some east-northeast winds, all aimed in here at the east coast of the United States. Now, this is going through the weekend, and another area of low pressure is going to develop just over the Great Lakes, and this is going to put a strong southwest flow from the Outer Banks up in here through New England and pushing past Nova Scotia. But I'm going to back this up for you now for just a few moments. So that strong southwest flow from the Outer Banks through New England, but look down here as this 1042 millibar high develops, 1044. I'll back it up for you a second. So we're looking at east-southeast winds here all the way through day 5, and look at this fetch of east-southeast winds, east-southeast winds. Now, there is the possibility that with this offshore wind flow, there could be some fun surf alerts setting up along the southeast U.S. coast. But then this is day 6, guys, and day 7 going into Christmas week. Another area of high pressure starts to develop in here and then turns the winds out of the northeast That's positive swell direction, even though it's onshore winds, guys. I know the winds may not be the best at the moment, but then again, look at this. We're 7-8 days with continuous east-southeast wind flow out here in the central Atlantic. Now, I also want you to take note down here. Here comes this abnormal rainfall when this is supposed to be the dry season in here. Look how tropical moisture, because of that high pressure out here near the Azores, and there's not a lot of confidence going outside of 10 days, guys, but this is 10 days here coming up, and I want you to see what happens here. An area of low pressure tries to spin up out here northeast of the Virgin Islands, and this is going to tighten the pressure gradient in here. And this should also help to increase some more east-southeast swell. So for December, to see an east-southeast trade wind swell develop when primarily we're looking for winter storm force lows that are creating northerly swell for Puerto Rico and the islands here, it's almost the exact opposite. That's all we got for you for now, guys. Stay tuned for the next update. We look like we're going to start stepping up updates as we start to get in the real-time forecast of this, but the positive swell direction is a plus for continued days of rideable surf coming, either onshore winds or not. Stay tuned for the forecast.